So this video we are talking about burnout in firefighters. Like what we've considered the other frontline workers, firefighters are no different. In fact, some of the causes are fairly similar, and the most important one is demand resource imbalance. Now, exposure to traumatic events, one would absolutely have no confusion in stating that what the firefighters have to put up with is very stressful. And when they put themselves through these catastrophic events, anxiety and overwhelm and stress is but natural. And these type of circumstances, if were not broken adequately with stress relaxation cycle, it becomes constant and ongoing, continuous, repetitive, stressful events that can give rise to a sense of overwhelm and increased work pressure, and hence giving rise to burnout. The physical demands are increasing in these dangerous situations. That can include picking up patients, if you like, fighting the fires, if you like. The firefighters might not know exactly the environment that they're going into, whether they're going to inhale any dangerous gases, if you like. Are they carcinogenic or not? In situations where there is radioactive outburst, if you like, or outbreak. So it's the fear of the unknown, and then fighting that without truly knowing what they're going for can be quite overwhelming. Now, particularly along with the stress that comes along, if there was no adequate stress relaxation cycle, and particularly the most important human need that everybody needs every day on a daily basis is sleep. And if that sleep was lacking, it can be, again, catastrophic. There is enough written about firefighters and lack of sleep. So individuals, if they were doing long hours at work and not having adequate amount of rest, that is a sure disaster step towards burnout. Now, if there was lack of sleep and ongoing repetitive long hours, the diet consumption can be affected as well, which can give rise to all sorts of problems, including obesity and emotion issues. The number of volunteers are recently declining as well, which is increasing the risk towards the firefighters. Again, if firefighters were to leave their job, or if they were not to meet with a good outcome, there's a lot of stigma attached with regards to the culture as well, which is quite unfortunate, I feel, but it is seen, and some of the firefighters are very negatively affected by that type of finger pointing or blame game, if you like. The effects on burnout on the firefighters could be avoidance behavior, mood swings, outbursts, lack of sleep. They may be unable to control their emotional responses in the professional environment or in their home or family environment, because all of us do take some work from home. Some work from work to home, and we bring some issues from home to work as well. And if either of the mediums were not healthy, the other aspect suffers. The negative self-concept and can affect self-esteem, and this can have harmful effect on the interpersonal relationship, may it be at work or in the family. These pre-burnt out or even burnt out police officers usually tend not to voice safety concerns or voice concerns towards themselves because of lack of either the social cultural stigma or perhaps a possibility that they might be reprimanded at work. A burnt out frontline worker is dangerous, and hence the institutions could either bring not actions as disciplinaries, but if they were to be taken out from work. That is basically a fear that some of the frontline workers have, and it might be the right thing to do to help these individuals, but the fear of this happening can stop quite a few frontline workers from presenting themselves or asking for help. Burnt out individuals just don't have these issues affecting them psychologically, but it can also affect the other systems like cardiovascular issues, dietary, as we considered about obesity, emotional issues, and gastrointestinal issues as well. We talked about lack of community respect, and one of the common problems of people in any profession, if they work close to burnout, is that they start to see that it is much more greener on the other side of the fence. So people start looking at alternative careers, or perhaps no, I don't want to be in this particular field because there is only overwhelm in the profession, hence I'll do that. That may not be the right approach, but that is very commonly seen. And if one was to do that, then the negative reprisal of the community is definitely taken quite sensitively and seriously by some of the well-meaning individuals. Leadership issues can cause significant institutional problems. A good leader is somebody who has a watch out for issues that might come in their workplace, and again, it could be their workforce who might be having demand resource issues, or they might not be well supported, or they might have rota issues of having significantly consistent long hours, shifts, and so on and so forth. And all of these items, if they were not addressed by the leader in a particular institution appropriately, that does negatively affect the workforce, the employees, and finally the culture of that particular organization. So steps to avoid burnout are not only the responsibility of the individual, but as we discussed in the previous videos, there are circumstantial and there are existential issues, and both of them need to be addressed simultaneously in an ideal world, so that the workplace remains a fantastic organization to work for, and the individual who works in that type of institution remains a happy human being who is more productive, which is a win-win type of situation for any organization. So that concludes the video on the causes of burnout in the firefighters. I'll see you in the next video shortly. Thank you very much for listening.